Dawn spills its pale light across a wild, ancient plain. In a shallow valley, smoke curls lazily from the mouth of a stone shelter. The night's embers are being stirred back to life. Figures move quietly among low shrubs and rocky outcrops, their bare feet pressing patterns into the dew-damp earth. Forget the tired image of grunting brutes dragging clubs. Daily life for our Paleolithic ancestors was far richer, far more organized, and far more ingenious than most people imagine. So, what really filled the waking hours of a caveman? When we say caveman, we're actually talking about countless generations of humans living during the Paleolithic. A vast stretch of time covering nearly 2.6 million years up until about 12,000 years ago. For more than 99% of our species' existence, we lived not by planting crops or building skyscrapers, but by following the rhythms of the land, hunting, gathering, crafting tools, and weaving complex social ties. Each day began with the first light. There were no alarm clocks, just the cycle of light and darkness guiding when to rise, rest, and gather. The first task, tending the precious fire. Archaeologists studying ancient hearths have found evidence of carefully managed embers, kept alive through cold nights to ensure warmth and safety from prowling predators. Rekindling these coals each morning was as routine as making coffee today. Once the fire was awake, so too were the people. The early hours were prime time for planning. Elders and skilled hunters scanned their horizon for fresh tracks. Was there sign of deer moving near the river? Had someone noticed ripe berries in the thicket yesterday? Children watched closely, learning which footprints belonged to what animal, how to judge weather from a shifting breeze, or which plants to pluck and which to avoid. Mid-morning saw groups splinter off for the day's main work. Men and women both played flexible roles. Some tracked game through grasslands or wooded slopes, armed with spears carefully balanced for throwing, a technology refined over thousands of years. Others stayed closer to camp, gathering edible roots, nuts, or medicinal herbs. These tasks demanded deep ecological knowledge. What grows when, where to look, and how to harvest without destroying the source. When luck favored them, hunters might bring back an antelope or wild pig by late afternoon. A successful hunt meant butchery began immediately. Stone knives flashing under the sun as meat was divided and fat-rich bones were cracked for marrow. Nothing was wasted. Even sinew became string. Hides became clothing or shelter walls. Meanwhile, gatherers returned with baskets woven from reeds or bark, loaded with tubers, seeds, and leaves. Back at camp, food was cooked or dried for leaner days. The invention of cooking, perhaps humanity's greatest culinary breakthrough, unlocked nutrients, made chewing easier, and turned some toxic plants into edible feasts. While food was vital, it wasn't all about eating. Throughout the day, people mended tools, knapped fresh stone blades, or carved bone needles for stitching hides into clothes warm enough to face icy winds. A skilled stone toolmaker could transform a chunk of flint into a razor-sharp scraper in minutes. But perfecting that craft took a lifetime of practice passed down from one generation to the next. Shelters, too, needed upkeep. not everyone lived deep inside caves. In fact, many Paleolithic families built huts from wood, animal hides, and bone, like the circular mammoth bone dwellings found in ancient Ukraine. These homes sheltered entire bands, small communities usually made up of extended families. Life inside revolved around a central hearth, with sleeping, tool-making, and food areas arranged neatly around it. Children weren't hidden away in separate rooms or schools. They grew up amidst this daily flurry of survival and creativity. They learned by watching, mimicking, and being trusted with small tasks that gradually expanded into adult skills. As evening shadows grew long, people drifted back to the warmth of the communal fire. This was the social heart of Paleolithic life. Stories were told, songs were sung, and perhaps the first sparks of art and spirituality flickered to life on cave walls and carved figurines. From Blombos Cave in South Africa to the painted chambers of Lascaux in France, evidence of symbolic thinking and early music reveals minds as curious and expressive as ours today. Conflict, it existed, but violence appears far less common than in later settled societies. Bands traded materials and knowledge across wide territories, forming alliances and networks that helped them thrive even during harsh winters or sudden droughts. In the end, what did a caveman do all day? They worked with nature, not against it. They balanced immediate needs, food, fire, shelter, with careful planning for tomorrow's uncertainty. They raised children to know every tree and every track. They invented, adapted, and shared. And when they gathered at night, they shaped the stories that would become our collective human memory. So next time you imagine a caveman, don't picture a grunting savage with a club. Picture a resourceful hunter, a master craftsperson, a knowledgeable healer, and a storyteller, a human being, perfectly in tune with the world that sustained them for millions of years.